Point short, to be exact. Duke winning the game 71-51 tonight. As you can imagine, U of M fans very disappointed, but they are already looking ahead to next year.
I think they'll be back next year. They got 3 more years to do it. They should have did it this year, but missed free throws and fouls.
Even if they...
So they'll be back. They'll be back. Got 3 more years.
I'm upset about it, but I think it was really good for the freshmen to do, and I think we're going to come back next year.
Well, she's right. It was very, very good for a group of freshmen to do. Eli Zarrett in Minneapolis for a closer look at tonight's game. Eli, Christian Laettner just came on in that second half, and that seemed to be the undoing of the Wolverines, at least partially.
That was one of the things, yeah, and they didn't take advantage of his very, very poor first half. A couple of kind of freeze frames will stay in our mind after this one subsides, besides Grant Hill's numerous over-the-shoulder dunks at the end as Duke rolled up the score. Of course, the poignant picture of Chris Webber on the bench with his head in the towel will remain with us. And I think that makes us realize that once the sting of this subsides, once they can start to put it behind them and look forward, they'll be able to grasp the bigger picture, how they came together as just 5 freshmen this year, grew tremendously all year long, and so much in just the last couple of weeks. They only started as a unit as of the beginning of February. This should carry over and just add to their determination to come back next year, and of course, signal the prelude to what could be a very long and bright future for Michigan basketball. Shortly after the game, after Steve Fisher left the floor, he went to the interview room, and here are some of the things he had to say about his team.
I felt good about our chances at halftime, even though I'm sure Duke was saying the same thing. They're talking about how poorly they shot, and we felt that our defense contributed to them shooting poorly and having 12 turnovers. In the second half, we found it difficult to get any kind of offensive flow at all going, and struggled to get good shots. And when we had good shots, we couldn't get them to go down. And that can't happen against a great team like Duke.
As Fisher is indicating, of course, it's no shame in losing to Duke, not just a 2-time national champion, but a team that this year started the season #1, finished the season #1, and lost only 2 games. What Fisher knows, though, is that the only player who made any significant contribution this year to his team that's leaving is Freddie Hunter. So they will all be back. And I think you out there ought to start thinking of a new moniker. The Fab Five is dead. If they are freshmen no longer, maybe the sophomore siege or something like that will be something that they pick up to begin next year. We'll be back with more from here in Minneapolis in sports. Now I'll send it back to you, Rich and Sherry.
All right, Eli, I think we'll be glad not to hear the Fab Five moniker next year. Let me ask you something very quickly, though. It looked to me, you mentioned Chris Webber, it looked to me like he left the arena, went to the locker room holding his hands over his eyes and didn't congratulate any of the Blue Devils. Did he do that?
It didn't surprise me to see him leave. He was obviously upset. It's hard to put yourself in his shoes. Yeah. By the time Christian Laettner and the other guys came over to congratulate the bench, the Michigan players had left. So it's no shame that he left that early. He would have had to linger there for quite some time to have exchanged any type of pleasantries with Laettner, who I guess in the second half with Chris in foul trouble did very, very well, and certainly foul trouble with Rose and Weber late in the game was part of Michigan's undoing.
Okay, Eli, thanks. We'll see you in a few minutes. Okay. Fred Heumann, of course, will be along a little later on with highlights of tonight's game, more player reaction, and the rest of today's sports news.
Maybe the sensational sophomores next year?
We hope that.
Come up with it. You like that?
There you go, yeah.
Save it for next year.
All right.
TV2's Gerald Harrington watched tonight's game with some fraternity and sorority groups on the Ann Arbor campus at the University of Michigan. And Gerald joins us now live from atop a building overlooking South University, where a crowd is just now beginning to gather. Gerald?
Sherry, here on South University tonight, a few hundred die-hard Michigan fans have gathered, not so much to celebrate as to commiserate. Their voices are loud, but their numbers are small. Certainly nothing like the 10,000 or more we witnessed here on Saturday when Michigan beat Cincinnati. The mood, the feeling here tonight, a stark contrast to what we witnessed earlier. Our evening of game watching began at the William Monroe Trotter House, a minority student cultural center. But the only minorities here were Duke fans.
The unity makes them so good because they all stick together. They all know each other very well, played with each other when they were in high school, and they're just fabulous.
This was the reaction at the Phi Delta Theta House when Duke's Bobby Hurley picked up his second foul. The red of the National Public Service sorority Delta Sigma Theta turned maize and blue.
The Delta support Michigan. Woo whoop live. Go!
During the game, South University looked like a street in a ghost town. Even the police were tuned into the game. How are we doing in your ear?
We're up by 1.
Well, unfortunately, it just was not to be for the Fab Five this year. I could almost hear this crowd down here saying what all of us are feeling: wait until next year. We'll throw it now to Micah Mater over at Chrysler Arena, where she's been following the game with some fans on the big screen. Micah.
Well, Gerald, the atmosphere here at Chrysler Arena is very somber. Shortly after Duke took the championship, the more than 1,000 fans who came out here to watch the game all went home, and the doors of Chrysler Arena are now locked. The University of Michigan had hired a band in hopes of having a celebration here. But in spite of the loss, most of the fans we talked to say they are very proud of their team's efforts. It wasn't exactly the Metrodome in Minneapolis, but these 3 large screens at U of M's Chrysler Arena came awfully close. For the 1,500 fans or so who turned out to cheer on the men in maize and blue, it was the next best thing to being courtside.
It's just like Michigan did this in 2 years, and we need to be here, and we're going to win the game.
It's just the whole school spirit. Everyone works together and cheers. And if defeat, which highly doubtful, then we'll all be here for each other.
There was lots of food for the fans if they got hungry, and security was on hand just in case the natives got too restless.
It's so much louder. It's great to get everybody together.
And although there was plenty of room left in the arena, most of the fans opted to sit close together as they watched